Alright, let's take a look at some things to help you get started on this assignment if you find it difficult. This assignment is a little bit of a mix of math and, let's, of course you know which assignment it is, but I have the need to look at it again. Okay, it's a mix of math. We have to find an average. We've done that before. It shouldn't be too hard, right? So our input is gonna be finding 3 grades, getting an average, and then it's just going to be a big long if statement, because now we have to combine an if statement. We have to do an if statement for each one of these grades. And I know you're groaning, and the point of doing this assignment is so that you kind of recognize that anytime you want a computer to do something like that, there's plenty of places where a computer has lists of things it tries to figure out. Somebody has coded that in there. And so, yes, it's annoying, but yes, that is actually part of what coding is about. The good news is that copy and paste is our friend, right? So let's just say you figured out the average and that the average is 97.2. I'm going to let you figure out how to do the math. How do you get started on these if statements? So we're going to do if grade is greater than 96, right? So that would be one way to do it. And then we could print that they got an A. Now let's just take a look here at this grade is greater than 96. Does that cover all the different conditions of what an A could be? An A is theoretically to 100. What if they get 101? Well, it's still an A, so you don't have to stop it at 100. How about if they get a 96? If they get a 96, it's going to be an A as well, right? So I can't just say greater than. I better say greater than equal to. You could, if you wanted to, say no, you can't get greater than 100. You could say, and the grade is less than or equal to 100. So you can combine these two. And then it will only do it if they are both true, right? So it has to be between these two numbers. So that's one way to do it. I'm going to start with just greater or equal to 96. Now, what if they get an A minus? By the way, you could start this on the other end and work at the failing ones first if you wanted to, but I'm going to start from the top. So because we only want one thing to be true, we can use an elif, right? And so it's kind of one big long statement that we can do. It's else if the grade is something, else if the grade is something. So 94 would be, well, what's the range? It can be a 93 or 94. No, a 94 or 95, right? Oh, all of those. Yeah, see? So easy to get A minuses, right? What if we did it this way? Grade equals 93, or the grade equals 94, or the grade equals 95. And I'm going to do that just for a second because I want to show you what happens. What if they get, you're going to average 3 things together. So what if the answer was 94.333? Is 94.333 equal to 93, 94, 95? No. So even though we're in that A minus range, this would not print. We wouldn't get anything, right? So we got to be careful. Oh, goodness gracious. This is the second time today I've been having problems with this. See, nothing happened. So it seems like nothing happened, but it really just decided not to do it because they weren't true. So you have to be careful to make sure that you get like the full range of grades. So another way that you could do this is you could say, okay, if the grade is greater or equal to 93 and the grade is less than or equal to 95. That seems right. Now what happens if their grade is a 95.4? So now we have to say, okay, it's not greater than 96 and it's not less than or equal to 95. So we still have some problems. So you have to kind of make sure that you're doing things right. So what if you said less than 96? That means if they get a 95.99999, it's going to be a 90 it's going to be an A minus. Too bad for you. You didn't make 96. You can do it that way. That's perfectly legitimate. You don't have to round. You could round if you wanted to. Then you would have to go up here and be like, if it's greater or equal to 95.5, and if it's less than 95.5. You could do something like that. Okay, one more tip on this part. And because there is a kind of a lot of little tricks going on here. And that is, there's one more way to write this that we would do in that we might do in math class. First of all, notice I didn't do this. You can't make an and statement and then just say this. I'll say it out loud in English. Else if the grade is greater than or equal to 93 and less than 95.5. Sounds good in English because we know that we're using grade in both places. The computer's not smart enough to do that. Computer, you have to put the full test on both sides. So you have to use the variable that you're testing in both places. So that's a little tip. But if you get sick of that and you're like, nah, that's too much to write, Mr. Steen, then you could do it this way. You could say 93 is less than or equal to grade, which is less than 95.5. So you can do that. And Python is one of the only languages I know that I've used that allows you to do that. But it kind of creates a mathematical situation where it's between two numbers. So that is perfectly legitimate. So you just keep on going and you get all the way down. You keep on doing elifs if it's different things, and you just kind of keep on going. Now, eventually you're going to get to else. Like you can imagine it's done all the different grades. Do you do an else? Well, you don't have to. You could do elif grade is less than or equal to 70, or maybe, I don't know, let's just say 69.9 or something like that, like whatever failing is for you. Or you could do like all the way through D minus, and then you could just say else print F, right? Like anything that's not one of these grades could just come down and be an F, and you don't even have to worry about a greater or lesser than, because remember the else statement has to be by itself. One little tip as well, so additional tip on this one, number 4. They need an extra warning message that they're not doing so great, because C is supposed to, you're doing an average grade. If you're getting less than an average, maybe you want to give them a warning just to, stick it to them. Maybe this is an email that goes home to mom and dad and you want to warn them a little bit. 2 ways to do that. One could be in our else's. We just are like print warning, you're about to fail, something like that. Or you could just actually make that a completely different if statement. So as long as it's not part of these elifs, you could be like, well, if the grade is less than or equal to whatever it is supposed to be here, like whatever the number is, I forget, then we could print a warning. And so either way, neither of those is hard to do. It's just for some reason a little harder to think about. All right, you should be ready to do this one.